I played it for the first time when I was like too young, but I beat the game maybe like 2004, late. Like we're talking already mid PS2 era. And then I remember in 2006, my chemistry teacher was talking about, we were chatting one day and he was just like, yeah, you know, when I was in college, I used to play a lot of Symphony of the Night and then blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, you know, it's crazy, that secret ending where you go to the inverted castle. And I'm like, inverted castle? What the f-? And I remember running home and playing, and then unlocking this whole other part. And I'm like, there's 200% in this game. Like, and I remember that shit was crazy. Like,
damn, that's fire.
So a conversation with my
it.
chemistry teacher in high school is how I like found out that there's a whole other half to the game.
Well, since we are talking about the old classics, jump right into this next subject. When it comes to PlayStation 1 games, what was the classic PS1 games that you guys played? Like, which ones was it for you? Which one did it for you? We had Driver was a big one. I love playing this shit out of Driver. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I never checked out Driver, man. It was not one of the ones that like popped up on my radar.
Dude, I fucking love.
You're muted, Doey.
Driver.
The Driver soundtrack? How was the Driver soundtrack?
I don't remember it.
Did it have like music they made, or was it like songs that they like made specifically for the game?
I think it was an original soundtrack. I don't think they had like licensed like hip hop tracks and things like that. I think they just like made the music for the game. Yeah, I remember I got Driver and I couldn't beat the first level because I didn't know what a slalom was. And then my cousin came over because the first level of that game, you got to do a fucking driving test. So it's like, do a 180 turn, you know, speed up, then stop, do use your handbrake. Like they give you a list of shit to do. And one of them's like, do a slalom. And I was like, don't know what the fuck that is. And it turns out the game has like a video built into it that it shows you like the CPU doing it, and I didn't know it. My cousin came over, put it on, then he did it, and then unlocked the game pretty much. And then the game was fucking incredible. That game was, I don't know. To me, it was like the GTA 3 before GTA 3 came out.
That game there was pretty dope. I always not sucked at it, but like tailing in that game, because I would just get too close and I get spotted. Or I hit a wrong turn, hit a car, and then I'm trying to back up and reverse, and then I'm too far away. And it's like, fuck. That game always kind of fucked me on that. But no, that game was definitely amazing. Also, another good one off that list, man, Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid came out.
Driver soundtrack.
Well, my list. I have a little list.
Driver soundtrack is pretty jamming. I'm
Is
listening
it
to
licensed
it now.
soundtrack?
It is a full soundtrack, 31 minutes of music.
Is it licensed though, or is it like original music?
It seems original.
Right.
It's all original, yeah.
Yeah, no, Metal Gear Solid 1 is my favorite video game of all time.
Dude, that intro, I've never seen anything like it. Like that cutscene like that, it was so wild. Like the just swimming in slowly, and just the whole scene was so cool. It's one of the coolest games that I ever played on the PlayStation.
For sure. I also hated that beginning though.
Yeah.
Because like that shit was hard as a kid to get out of that fucking thing and get in the getting in the elevator felt like a fucking victory. Like
Psycho
in
Mantis.
retrospect, is not that hard.
Psycho Mantis blew my mind the first time that I ran across him. Like that shit was wild.
was
when he
scary,
started
bro.
like telling the other games I had played and talking about my play style, and I was like, this is another level. This is crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that shit is that game right there. But
No, you go.
I was gonna say that game right there set like a fucking. It was like a mecca of what gaming, some games needed to be at. It just set that level, that bar, fucking pretty good.
Yeah, literally, it was like to me, it created the idea of like the Hollywood movie video game. Like games weren't cinematic back then. Like you got like some basic premise and then you just ran off and like played the game. And some RPGs, you know, like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and things like that, like there was more of like a cinematic nature to them, but then, you know, it was like a cutscene and then it was just like
PS1 introduced some pretty cinematic stuff, like Xenogears and all that. Those RPG games were, it's looked like absolute shit, but they tried to be cinematic.
No,
I mean, they gave you like a little cutscene here and there to like introduce the characters or show off the world or something, but it was very minor. Like Metal Gear had full voice acting, so it's like every word that's spoken in the game, it's like it just, so that automatically feels like a fucking movie. The graphics never change in the game.
Even the cutscenes when they happened, you'd get the little bars on the top and the bottom of the screen, right? Like you would go to that cinema style, the pillar boxing or column boxing, whatever the fuck it's called.
The game starts with credits, like intro credits, like a movie. Like they're dropping the actors' names and stuff like that. Like that shit was crazy.
Did you guys have a problem finding Meryl's code to message her?
It was
A lot of people
it was
do.
in the book, right? It was in this instruction booklet.
It was in the back, actually. If you looked at the back of the thing, her thing was in one of the panels.
It was on the back of the CD case.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Snake talking to Meryl, and you could see the number in the thing.
That felt so clever. And so I would rent from Blockbuster, and you had to look in the Blockbuster case, and they put it in there.
Yo, that Blockbuster case done got me through some rough times.
Yeah.
If on the back
even
of the Blockbuster case, they'd put a couple paragraphs of just like little hints, tips, tricks, sometimes cheat codes. Like, shit was dope.
Damn, Blockbuster, man, that shit was classic shit.
I swear
Sad
that
that it got-
my Blockbuster handed out instruction booklets for all of like a month, like after they started carrying video games, and they were like, these booklets are just walking every time.
I stole a bunch of them for
at
Nintendo
that
64 games. Yeah. Cruising USA, Super Mario. Who didn't want these?
Why did you steal the Cruising USA instruction book?
That's
We played a lot of Cruising USA in my house, all right? The Cruising franchise. We played
Cruising
a lot.
USA was fire.
Cruising's a good
Cruising the
game.
World also fire.
Very.
But that's N64. Doey, what's up with you? What's the PS1 game that comes to mind?
PS1.
Think of Spyro.
I would have to say I gotta switch it over to like N64. I would say like Diddy Kong Racing, like those songs and
No,
What the
we're
fuck?
not.
no,
Well, you can't do that.
we're not
We're-
doing that topic yet. We're on classic PlayStation
We're
1
doing
games.
PlayStation 1.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of a PlayStation 1 game that had like a banging
No
soundtrack.
no soundtrack.
Fuck a
Just
soundtrack. We're not talking
soundtracks.
soundtrack right now, bro. We're talking PlayStation 1 games.
just ones that we enjoyed playing, like the classic ones from like your PlayStation 1 era.
I liked a lot of the extreme sports games, like the
Like
Cool
Tony Hawk
Borders,
Pro Skater 2.
Pro Skaters. I like the Cool Borders a lot. I like the
You didn't like
snowboarding
Silent Hill?
games. Well, then yeah.
What
I
are you
mean, you're
doing
talking
to-
about like the.
I'm helping him. He needs help.
No, leave him be.
You know
He's
what was
talking
good?
Cool Borders.
I like
This man-
Twisted Metal. I like Twisted Metal a lot. Twisted Metal 2.
There we go.
You know what game was better than Twisted Metal though?
What?
Oh,
Vigilante.
Vigilante 8, dude, all day.
Vigilante.
There was even another one that I don't remember, but there was even another one after that came out with. Vigilante 8 was fucking awesome. Just the blocky cars, and they like had hydraulics.
You
They
had-
just jump.
You had special moves you could do. Every single weapon had like 3 firing modes on it. It was so cool.
Yeah, hard as fuck.
I hated Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal was
Twisted Metal 2 is probably one of the best games of all of the PS1.
Who was your go-to
Even
character in
bet-
Twisted Metal?
Twisted Metal 2, I liked. Who did I go for?
I can't remember his name. I was always the motocycle dude. That's the guy that I like. That glass cannon guy.
He's a glass cannon. Yeah.
I don't remember, but I do remember it was the guy with the it looked like a Dodge Charger or some shit.
Yeah, me
Or
too.
the chat. Yeah, you too. Yeah, that was my to go guy. I forgot his name though.
There's
Damn.
the black dude with the pink car.
Oh yeah,
All
I
I
remember.
all I remember it from that game specifically. There's a Paris area. That music is like ingrained in my head.
This
They
man's
have
killing
like
me.
some alternate version of a song on there, and it's ingrained in my head.
Worst character was that guy that was just stuck between the two tires.
Oh yeah, bro.
Pain Axel.
That was my least favorite
That dude there, bro, looked like he was always in pain. That was a torture thing. There's no way that's even fair at that point. Like,
Where did he shoot
Poor
out of?
guy.
Did he shoot out of his crotch, or were there like
His
guns
cock.
mounted on?
Yeah, he had his arms, but it was like a stick figure, and so you'd pass by him and he'd like disappear. He'd just be like wheels.
He had the same cock gun as the character in From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's a good
He
cock
just
gun.
pulls out that
They can't
revolver
pull him out.
cock.
what about Resident Evil though? You didn't play any of the Resident Evil on PlayStation?
Just-
You bailing this guy out.
No, you are bailing me out. I mean, I've got to be
Let
honest.
people talk.
Resident Evil, probably the best franchise in the entire world. I know I've probably said that more than once now.
That's rough.
Dude, I don't think you
that's
understand.
a take, man. That's an interesting take.
Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, those games got so much play and like also replay value as well. I played so much of that. Like
Resident Evil 1 needed more dogs jumping through windows. Just every room should have had a dog jumping through the window.
I got tired of that shit.
You're in an interior room. That dog is still jumping through that window somehow.
I mean, that, you know what though? That might be a future topic. Best franchise games of all time. But
That's a good one.
I don't know. Did you guys ever play? You had to have played Crash Team Racing, right?
Not once.
I hated that game.
I thought the game was great.
What? That
Yeah.
game was awesome.
I've got
Damn.
okay. So
It's
I've got
like a Diddy Kong Racing clone, pretty much. It's the same kind of premise. I think there's like alternate vehicles for like water levels and things like that.
Yep.
Weapons, so you could shoot people mid match. You win a couple races, then you have like boss fights that you gotta like play through, just like Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know, it was cool.
Did you guys ever play the Mission Impossible game?
no.
I love that game.
No,
It's so hard.
It's hard. I love that game.
I don't think I played that.
I
Remind me
def-
what it was.
I definitely did not.
Yo, it was so good. Like
It was
the one
satisfying.
there was the one level where it was like a cocktail party, and you had to like poison the drink to get the guy to get sick and go in the bathroom. Then you kill him, then you steal his face, and then you
What the fuck?
yeah, that game was crazy. It was like all these gadgets, like so you had to make the guy sick, so he goes in the bathroom, then you kill him, then you use the face maker to copy his face, and you could put his clothes on, so you could get to another area. Then you like put like smoke bombs into the vents so that people think there's a fire, and the game was crazy, like all the shit that you gotta do.
Maybe I have played this game. This sounds really
Yes.
familiar.
Yes.
I will tell you though, the best spy game of all time is True Lies for the
Siphon
Super
Filter.
Nintendo.
Oh, I
Okay,
thought you was
okay,
gonna say Siphon Filter too. I was about to say, bro.
Now, True Lies
Sight-
on the SNES was fire.
Siphon Filter was so hard as well.
I couldn't get into
Siphon
it.
Filter was like a wannabe Metal Gear game that was actually really fucking good and wasn't much like Metal Gear at all.
You know what? I felt like it spun off. It was that Sam Fisher game. Fucking what's the name of that game, bro? Fucking Splinter Cell.
You
Yeah,
just
that's-
said that.
Who said that? Who said that?
Ocho.
Pucho said that. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Nah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
Siphon Filter on the PS1.
Siphon Filter. Yeah, PS1. I'm telling you.
Splinter
I'm
Cell
saying
was hard, if that's what you were
Splinter
talking
Cell
about.
was hard. Yeah, no, I'm saying that Siphon Filter to me was like the Splinter Cell when it came out. Like that's what, you know what I mean? That's what I felt like when that game came out. But
What fighting games did you guys play on PS1?
none. Fuck
I-
that SmackDown.
I
too,
played
bring that up.
I played the two best fighting games. One of them might be the best franchise of all time,
Tekken.
which is obviously Tekken. But the other one needs to be a franchise. We need a remastered version. We need this series to be rebooted. Bushido Blade.
Ah, cool.
Bushido.
Yeah,
Blade.
Bushido Blade
I
was
forgot
so
about that.
fucking good.
Damn, I forgot about that game.
I also enjoyed Bloody Roar a lot. Like
Is that the one where
a
you turn
lot.
into like monsters mid-fight or
you
something?
turned into like animals.
Yeah, I
You
never
could turn
played
into
that.
like an animal, and
Is that the precursor to the game with the chicks with the big ass titties?
Like
What's
D-
the
D-
Dead or
DOA?
Alive?
Yeah.
Is that a precursor to that?
I feel
I'm
like it's the
not
same
too sure.
developer or something, but I really don't know.
The combat feel I played Bloody Roar, probably just a demo, but I remember thinking it was cool, like how you could like hit people and they were like crashing into walls a lot. Like I feel like you do like it's similar in like Dead or Alive, but I don't know.
Pucho, I feel like you're the person that would have also played this game and loved it. Mega Man Legends.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
Mega
yeah,
Man
that was a
Legends
good game.
1, Fire, Legends 2, legendary. No
I've
pun
never been able to
intended.
track down Legends 2. If
Oh
they
my
put that
God.
on this fucking service, I would throw my goddamn wallet at my PlayStation 5 immediately.
Hell yeah. That
Pretty
game
sure-
is so good.
pretty sure the first Legends was on the Vita. You could get it.
What about
I think they're both on there. Maybe
what
I'm
about
tripping.
Tenchu, the ninja game Tenchu?
I never played that.
Tenchu
I
was good.
always wanted to play Tenchu, dude.
I was a
didn't
big
like
fan
it.
of that game.
I played a little bit.
It was
I don't know, it didn't click
hard.
for me.
It was hard. Once
It wasn't
again, it was a
that
game
hard.
about sneaking and stuff like that. So you wanted to go in, shurikens blasting, and it was not gonna happen. Like you had to
I
sneak
never
around.
wanted Shuriken blasting. I just wanted straight.
Well,
That's all I wanted all throughout the whole game. Straight assassinations and get the fuck out.
well, on the 1-up timeline, at this point, it would have been when you somewhere around after you had decided you wanted to be an assassin, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. On the 1-up timeline, around this time is when the seed was planted in my head, and then it just started going on from there.
When SOCOM came out on the PS2 is when his assassin contract killerness was at
Just
its
run away.
all-time peak.
That was the peak.
Yeah, what?
This is where we're rising.
Yeah, no, that's where that shit started saying, yeah, now I'm on some real fucking guns a-blazing shit.
Yeah. Funny though, not in the spirit of the conversation, but when Doey brought up extreme sports, my first PlayStation game that I ever played was Too Extreme.
Oh my god!
It was like this game that had extreme sports in it. Like there was like skateboarding or inline skating, and it was just like
Biking.
it was like biking, but it was just like a racing game. Like you're like racing other people on a skateboard or something like that. And sometimes there were like these like flags you had to like go in between the thing.
Yeah.
Not a great game, but it was an amazing looking game coming from the Super Nintendo to a PlayStation game. It was like, yo, this is like what games are gonna be. This is crazy. Like
Tomb Raider was also fire.
I don't think the Tomb Raider games are actually that
No?
good. The early ones.
I don't like
I
them.
liked
I
it.
love the reboot of the franchise. The new games are
Oh, yeah.
fantastic, but I didn't think the old ones were that good.
I think they were okay. I liked it.
Terminator 2 was cool.
I will
There
tell
was
you,
some
I spent a
there's
lot
some
of
cool
time
stuff.
running around that library in that Tomb Raider 2 demo though. Was it Tomb Raider 2
Bro,
where
that
you could just run around the mansion?
Oh yes, you
Yeah.
can lock your servant in like the closet. If you're fast enough. The guy
Oh,
who
damn, I
follows
never
you,
did that.
the guy that follows you with the plates.
Yeah, I never
Um,
did that. That's crazy.
One game that got a lot of play as well. It was like a Resident Evil clone. Dino Crisis 2.
I
Was
knew you were
Dino
going to mention that one.
Crisis.
Yeah, like I played that game too much. And it was like the best and worst part of any Resident Evil game. You had the horrible camera angles. You can't see anything that's about to attack you. You just have to shoot and it's nowhere.
That game had the goofiest cutscenes though, right? Like there was just
Yeah.
all the cheesiness from like Jurassic Park just turned up to 11, like the
It
maximum.
was they had like actual people's motions, so they all looked like really. It just was so silly though. It was such a silly game, but
What-
it was a lot of fun.
What about Galarians? Did any of y'all ever play Galarians?
Nah.
It's that same kind of style, like your tank controls for your person, but you played like this. Man, I don't remember a whole lot about it. You had like psychic powers. Like you're this kid that had just developed these psychic powers. You had to take drugs to like re-up your like charge for various powers. But it was brutal. You could just set people on fire. Like that was one of your like psychic powers you got. I remember playing that a
about-
lot. My
yeah.
brother played the hell out of that one.
Another
You guys ever-
one of these clones. You guys ever play Nightmare Creatures?
I played the demo a lot.
Yeah, the
played
game
the
was cool.
demo.
It wasn't that great, but it was similar where it was like a blend between Resident Evil but with like magical powers or whatever. And all the creatures were like all demonic and shit. But I think it was like levels. I think you played. It wasn't like Resident Evil was practically like an open world game. Like they drop you in an area and you're just like exploring this whole area. Nightmare Creatures is just like a level. They drop you in a level and you did a bunch of shit, but then you'd be gone after that.
Have you guys ever play Colony Wars?
No,
The space combat
surprisingly,
simulator?
everybody says that they love those games, but I don't know.
No, if we're
played
talking
it.
like the best games from the PlayStation era, like we haven't even mentioned them yet. We haven't even gotten into them yet. We're talking Final
Really?
Fantasy
Yeah.
Tactics. We're talking FF7. We're
RPGs.
we're talking Vagrant Story.
I
Never
ain't
played
talking none of
Vagrant
those.
Story.
Vagrant
Never
Story was
played it.
games.
Vagrant Story was good.
It was really good.
Joey, I've got a
I've
question
always
for
wanted to
you.
play it.
The main character in that game, his name was Ash Riot or Ashley Riot or something, right? Was he wearing just a thong throughout that entire game?
He had
Oh
like this
my
really, it looked like he was half naked.
Yeah, he had
But
on like shorts, but then the ass was just missing from these
Yeah.
shorts, and it looked like he was just wearing like a straight up thong.
yeah. It felt
Isn't his
like
shirt like? Isn't he topless? Or
His,
he's wearing like a weird.
his shirt's like an apron. It's like the top part of an apron.
yo. How could I forget Parasite Eve?
I
Oh,
was
I didn't
waiting for you.
forget.
I
I
was
was gonna
waiting
say
for you
it
to
for
mention
you.
it.
God. That game had similar playstyle to the first Parasite Eve, where this like circle would pop out and then you'd get to like choose where you'd want to hit. My favorite thing about Parasite Eve is it was all guns, submachine guns, pistols, all sorts of guns. So there was this rifle that you can get. It was like a 2-shot rifle. If you upgraded that one rifle, those 2 shots, you'd be fucking everybody up. And I love that game. The story, everything about that game. Yeah, Parasite Eve is fucking the shit.
If they add those to the service, I plan on going back and playing those games because I never played more than like 10 minutes of that game. Bucho,
Yep, same.
there's one that I'm surprised Bucho hasn't mentioned yet.
What, Castlevania?
Yes.
Yeah.
Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night is
Pucho
one of the greatest games of all fucking time.
Absolutely agree with you. Pucho showed me this game and it blew my mind how much Pucho even knew about this game. When I found out, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm 100%." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. So that's it. We're done?" He's like, "No. There's 200%." I'm like, 200%? I'm like, what the
Oh,
fuck is
fuck.
that?
Now the
He's
entire
like,
fucking thing flips upside down.
it's the castle upside down. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And it was like, it blew my mind that a game...
Dracula's not even the real bad guy.
Yeah. It blew my mind that a game contained a game inside of it. I was like, whoa. I was like, that's fucking a first for me.
I beat that game. I played it for the first time when I was like too young, but I beat the game maybe like 2004, late. Like we're talking already mid PS2 era. And then I remember in 2006, my chemistry teacher was talking about, we were chatting one day and he was just like, yeah, when I was in college, I used to play a lot of Symphony of the Night and then blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy, that secret ending where you go to the inverted castle. And I'm like, inverted castle? What the fuck? And I remember running home and playing, and then unlocking this whole other part. And I'm like, there's 200% in this game. Like, and I remember that shit was crazy. Like,
Damn, that's
yeah.
fire.
So a
you
conversation
beat
with my
it.
chemistry teacher in high school is how I like found out that there's a whole other half to the game.
That's wild. So it didn't give you no indication?
They do, but it's like old school shit. And it was before I was like a completionist. Like nowadays that couldn't happen to me because I would make sure that I have explored every single tile of this map. You know what I mean? Back then I was just sort of playing through the game,
I've got
Could you imagine if they had trophies for the PlayStation 1 games, like the platinums and stuff like that? How I would have way more platinums right now.
How would you share those with other people? You would write them down and they'd have to believe you. There was no online connectivity.
No, I know. That's what I'm
Bring
saying.
a
Like, I
memory
wish.
card.
Oh, that would be the flex right there.
I got 80 platinums on this memory card.
The worst is that a lot of the secrets were just walls that you had to hit with your thing, and you were like, you didn't know it was gonna be there.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I've got a side question. So Alucard is secretly Dracula's son, and all that Dracula did to name this son is he flipped his name backwards. How fucked up would that be to do to a kid?
Imagine I named my kid Cock backwards, C-O-C-K, Cock, just Cock,
It'd be
the other way around. Right?
My kid would be Otam. I don't know why Doey's name is suddenly Cock now that's what
Yeah, I was
so
going to say
confused
it.
about
I was
me.
like, it would be Divad. or something. And he said cock.
Oh,
I
Tony's
guess
kid.
if your name was cock, and then you try to name your son
Cock
with the same name
Jr..
backward, it'd be KCOC, cock.
Luca could have been called Why Not. That's not a bad name.
That's
That is
interesting.
ridiculous. But no, yeah, I don't think Castlevania was definitely dope. I got into it again later on, like maybe last year, like Pucho, or not, maybe 2 years ago. Pucho put me on the show. I'm like, God damn, this Netflix shit is fire. Like this fucking, I love that shit. And then I started
It's a
playing the
good
game
show.
again. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't even finished the show.
Same.
Damn.
I watched 2 seasons. I just never continued it.
Another game Pucho put me on, Suikoden. Very good.
Oh,
my
that's a game you have to play
God.
with a fucking guide, though, dude.
Not
You don't
not
have
only
to.
that,
You
but it
take
just
the L. You're not getting all the characters.
I want all the
like-
characters. I refuse to beat that game without all the characters.
growing your castle and seeing your castle, the growth, and you start off in a small camp, and it just is very satisfying. That game, and fuck that gambler Jaspar. He fucking Gaspar. He fucking called my money.
Yeah, fuck that guy. To recruit him, you got to beat him like 4 times in a row or something. But the fucking odds of beating him in this game 4 times, it's like 1 in a million or something. So yeah, you have to save scum. You got to just like play, load your game till you finally get him. There's like no way.
You know my least favorite character from the entire PlayStation 1 era? It's that engineer that you run into in Final Fantasy Tactics. He's that dude that betrays you like early on in the game. And he's got really good gear, so I would always strip him naked the second that he joined my party. Be like, I know what you're gonna do. I know your move. Go out there with this copper sword. I would refuse to
Betrays you,
revive him when he
insta-kills
went
him.
down in combat.
That's awesome.
Which maybe that's why he betrayed me later on.
Fucking
Nah,
hated you.
Tactics had some cool shit. Like I remember there was like a special because in that game, like aside from it being a tactics game, you spend a lot of time like unlocking classes and leveling up the classes and things like that. So it's like early on you only have like knights or whatever, and then you start getting knights and mages, and then you start getting like interesting things like a dark mage or like a black knight or just like and there was just so many options. Like I remember you could get Cloud in that game, like it was like a special class to play as Cloud in Tactics. I thought that shit was crazy.
You could get Cloud. You could get a robot. There was the craziest class was that what was it? The mathematician that did like time magic.
The time magic.
Or
it was
no.
broken.
Oh wait, no. The mathematician did modifiers to spells, so you could do like a ×2 on the spell and crazy shit like that. That game was so wild.
Who did time magic?
Yeah, there was a mathematician or so. There was someone that like a time mage. Was it just the time mage that did time magic?
I don't know.
Because someone did
I
like this
remember
and
I
slow
remember the
and
time mage and the mathematician being like broken.
yeah.
That's what I heard as well.
Yeah, and we didn't even scratch the surface. Like we didn't get into the Final Fantasy games were crazy.
We don't have to.
We've talked a
Chrono
lot
Trigger-
about Final Fantasy 7 on this before.
Chrono Trigger came out on PS1 as well.
Oh man,
So
I mean,
I could shoehorn that one in there. That port was horrible, but
Was it
you know,
bad?
it was still Chrono Trigger. Had the cutscenes, man. Those anime cutscenes were fire. Wild Arms, okay. Wild Arms, one of my favorite fucking RPGs.
I feel like
Never
I've only
played
Anime
played.
those.
intro and Wild Arms 1, amazing.
I feel like I've only played the third one. It was the one. They were 3D by the time that I played it.
They've always
I thought the first one was flat. Maybe it
the
wasn't.
first two are flat, but you could rotate the camera in 6 degrees, not degrees. Sorry, there's six camera angles, so you could like change the different angles. So you could, it felt 3D, but it was not.
I just love the idea of playing an RPG that's a Western like style RPG. I thought that was so cool. I thought that was a cool concept.
Yeah, it's like they're in a desert world. They got guns and I don't know. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Final Fantasy IX was, for its time, very impressive on the PlayStation 1.
It's one of the last games for the PlayStation 1. That game came out in like 2000.
Yeah.
It's like you're in almost like the PS2 games already.
Yeah.
These fucking fart noises you're making.
It says they're
All this
trash.
Final Fantasy shit.
Okay,
Throw all that shit in the
what's your
trash.
favorite game of PS1 of all time? Just off the top of your head. What wins for you?
I would say Metal Gear. Metal Gear or Driver. I would even put Twisted Metal above Final Fantasy, to be honest with you.
Damn.
Good job. The Paris theme from Twisted Metal 2, probably the best musical piece in all time.
Wow. we got a lot of opinions flying here.
Yeah, he's a hot taker. He's a hot taker.
It's got like this guitar riff.
Well,